talk about that later. Let's see who pops up in here. Take the sound off. McGee Films, what's up? Harmon, what's up? McGee, you get your truck fixed yet? Sean Price, what's up? Still waiting for your starter, man. Well, I feel your pain, man. I'll tell you guys a cold weather repair on the road repair horror story if you guys want. Yep, you see my decision, Hotshot Dave. John McCulloch, Sun Chaser, CPAP. And Stu Manchu, Battleborn, what's up, Big Rich? Well, there's a couple of things going on. I grabbed a load that picks up Tuesday. So, tomorrow I'm taking my truck into the shop. And the Kenworth 680s have this clutch actuator, and I've got air leaking around it again. John McCulloch is Texas, Cali, Texas, a good lane at Schneider. John, I'm not as familiar with, Texas is good paying in, but it's hard getting out as far as rate per mile, and as far as California stuff, I don't pay attention to the California stuff. So I wish I could help you more, but that's all I know. Texas is good going in and staying in. I know that the one time I thought about going out to California, I didn't see too many loads coming back to Texas. But that's just, a one little, snippet of the low board. Yukon, what's up? So, anyways, I got an air leak in the truck I got to get fixed. And I have a service to do. And I'm actually taking it to Kenworth. So, Clyde, what's up? So, that helped make my decision. I got home and heard the air leak and I thought, well, crap. So I called Kenworth and they said they'd get me in tomorrow. And they asked me if I wanted to drop the truck off or wait. I told them I would wait. They didn't seem too thrilled with that, so I'll probably just drop it off and hope that they have it done by Tuesday. So, John McCulloch says, okay, I'm looking at Schneider, but that's the lane I like, or Texas to Upper Midwest. Now, I run a lot of Texas to Midwest, John. I do a lot of Texas from Ohio back to Missouri. Ohio, Texas, back to Missouri. I do a lot of that. But my rate per mile is probably not as high as it could be because I do a lot of Texas freight. So, Big Rich, what are your thoughts on the approaching revolution? Big Rich, are you referring to Coach's video that he was just on? CPAP machine, I don't know. I noticed that my air compressor was working a little bit harder today, and I thought maybe it's just because of the trailer I had, but once I got home, I could hear the air leak from the same spot as I had before. A couple months ago, I had the first cold snap we had. I was losing air pretty fast. Within a half an hour, I lost all my air. So, this cold weather, if you don't have all the seals and everything are just right, things are going to leak, whether it be air, antifreeze, oil, all of it. So, Big Rich, is that what you're talking about in general? There's no denying that people are getting fired up, not just on social media. Okay, let's talk about that. Several years ago, I was with a small carrier. Okay, 150 trucks. We went to e-logs. The company went from outlaw to e-logs. There was revenue lost. And now that carrier had to keep up with the equipment a little bit better, because when you don't have any logbook violations, they look at your equipment. That company is still around today, and they still deal with all the shippers and receivers and all the issues, and they can't just rely on drop and hook like a mega carrier. Do the mega carriers have an advantage over the e-logs because of relays and such? Yeah, but I'm not doing a lot of relays, and I'm driving for a mega carrier. I'm not allowed to just drop it at the yard. Here's the thing. If you have a shipper that is difficult to work with, that gives the companies permission to just charge them out the yin-yang. And just like the shippers and receivers can charge us for late reappointment, all that kind of stuff, trucking companies can do the same thing. And if your place is so horrible that you're having to call tow trucks to get people moved, or any of that kind of stuff going on, guess what? No one's going to want to service you. It's kind of like if a customer comes into a restaurant that always gives you a hard time, okay? This whole customer is always right. That's a lot of crap. If that customer is consistently rude and you can never get their food right or whatever, guess what? Eventually they're going to go, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be in here. Trucking companies can do the same thing. So, trucking companies have to be smarter and put their foot down. And the shippers that become the hardest to work with, they'll figure it out. It might take a year, it might take 2 years, it might take 5 years, but they'll figure it out. Big Rich says, how many trucks did that carrier, like you said, saw loss of revenue? How much of a loss do you think someone like Jeffrey or Jason or myself can take? Well, Big Rich, I don't know if you just got on e-logs now, but Jeffrey's always been on e-logs since he's got his own authority. And the numbers he gives me on a daily basis are pretty dang good. Now, could he make more if he could fudge paper? Absolutely. But when you have your own authority, when you're the carrier, you have a lot more leverage on everything. And I think a couple of videos ago he was talking about how he could just, tell the shipper, hey, if you don't want it, fine. We'll just deal with it a different way. A lot of it depends on the brokers you use. But very rarely is Jeffrey bumping up against that 70. And here's the thing. If you do a load to a customer that is just completely irrational, don't go there anymore. There are loads here on our load board that I'll only do because they pay well or if it gets me to a good area. All right, McGee Films, good luck to you. Sorry you're going through all that. Hotshot Dave says it's all about planning your work and working your plan. Execution is a big deal. Stand up for yourself. Right, Dave, but there's a lot of things that are not within our control. Like anybody who's ever delivered at CVS Pharmacy in Dallas, Texas, that's a 6 or 7 hour ordeal. And it's, and they have all the room. When I was delivering there one time with my old company, they had me there at 7 hours and 30 minutes, and they told me I had to leave. I said, well, do you mind if I park over here and, get my paperwork finished up? They're like, no, go ahead. Take, 15 minutes tops, right? So I pulled over, out of the way, was anybody's way, and I shut the truck off and I opened the hood up. Because what I was trying to do is I was trying to buy time to get to the 8 hour. Once I had 8 hour sleeper berth, I was good to go. And eventually, a yard guy came up to me and goes, hey, is everything all right? I said, yeah, my truck won't start. I'm on the phone with the shop now. They're trying to arrange something. I'll be out of here as quickly as I can. Once the 8 hour was up, I closed the hood, started up the truck, said, man, it started now. They told me what to do, and I was able to do it, and I took out of there. You have to be creative. And then I knew my dispatcher was mad at me if he sent me there again. But like in a situation where I'm at now, if that was to happen, I would easily just not book that load anymore. And see, at Schneider, we have a rating system. We can rate our customers. And what Schneider does is it uses that rating for leverage on how much they want to charge. And if Swift or somebody else wants to come in and undercut us, well, then it's their headache. There's plenty of customers out there. Okay? There's more loads than trucks. So, there's... and if it's such a good paying gig, the companies are going to find a way to make it work. The adjustment is not going to be easy. Plain and simple. Transland, it was an adjustment. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Your load planners have to have their act together. Brokers have to have their act together. And and there's an adjustment period, and everybody's going to be going through that. Yes, there will be loss in revenue. That's a given. If you are the type of person that stretched your paper, yes, you are going to lose revenue. The thing is that what everybody else is feeling right now, I dealt with 6 years ago. So, and you know what? It's not easy. And so I've made the adjustments to make it easier on me. Is it perfect? No. So Big Rich, that's RT Trucking, what's up? I've yet to come up to a shipper that asks me how many hours I have left. I've yet to deal with that. And if that does happen, then so be it. So, the problem is it's now industry-wide. Yeah, but we made that bed, man. If someone had a picture of a bunch of bare shelves at a Walmart somewhere, and there's like, oh, e-logs caused this. Well, last I checked, Walmart drivers drive pretty legal. Last I checked, The mega carriers are the ones that service the Walmarts most of the time. And, here's the thing, guys. If shelves become a little bit more bare, okay, if there's a lot of, and I said this on Coach's video, if a lot of deliveries don't get made, and it becomes a problem, then something will be done about it. That's what I meant by it's going to get worse before it gets better. Some of the customers that Transland had either started accommodating parking or they started giving you an open window. The ones that really liked the service that we gave them made the adjustments to make it work. But it was harder because now, back then, it was easy just to find a carrier that doesn't run e-logs. Now you can't do that. And that's where everybody's freaking out. Dude, I was at a shipper in Charlotte and they didn't even know we had time regulations. They honestly thought we just drove until we couldn't anymore. Seriously, I'm sure that's not uncommon. Right. There's not, here's the thing, guys. If you have to leave a shipper and you're out of hours, that actually happened to me several times. You get the red triangle, you leave, and you go find parking, the first spot you can. And the main thing that will screw up is your 10-hour break. If you leave the shipper empty after you've delivered, then you can call it personal conveyance because you're unladen. If the shipper holds you up loading your trailer and screws it all up, then the customer that the freight's going to should know that it's not your fault, it's the fault of the shipper. Right? So it's I agree, it's going to get nasty. That's what I meant about it being industry-wide now. Everyone from manufacturers, brokers, carriers, to mechanics are going to have to adjust. It's not as easy as finding someone with paper now. Right. But, like I said, Transland was a small carrier. They lost money, but they're still around. They're still kicking. They're still doing good. And that was 7 years ago. And paper violations were a big thing over there. Trust me. Can you still do the 8-2 split, says Hotshot Dave. At the Big Orange, I cannot use the 8-2 split. They will not let us use the 8-2 split. But back when I was able to do it for Transland and Landstar, I utilized that as much as I could. Diesel, stop it. This cold weather is making the dog act weird. You can. They're looking at opening it up to like 5.5, 7.3, etc. Right. Here's the thing, guys. How do you get a stop sign or a stoplight at an intersection? How does that happen? Yeah, Dave, it's legal. It's just not at the Big Orange. They don't want us thinking about that. How do lights get put in intersections? What has to happen before that happens? Somebody has to die. Somebody has to have a wreck. If enough wrecks happen in an intersection, what happens? They put a light up. Okay? It has to get worse before it gets better. Hey, Thomas, what's up? Weird Racing, what's up? So, we're gonna go through the storm. It's a storm, man. You got to go through it. And you know, just take the Triangle Drive and Park and add comments. DOT would likely accept this and prefer it over lying. I've done it several times these past few months. Trucker Stephen PA, that's a good point. Back in the paper days, they would rather see you over your hours than you doing a falsification. Falsification is a more severe penalty than being over your hours, because they know that life happens, okay? They know that crap happens. However, if you falsify, they don't know what's true and what's not. But if you're honestly over your hours, and say you're trying to find a safe place to park, you can get it done. I remember one time I picked up a load of sugar out of the Everglades in Florida. Huge, massive shipper. When you got in line, you were in a line of about 20 trucks. I ran out of time there. Of course, they don't allow overnight parking, even though they had plenty of room. This is back when I was at Transland. I didn't know the area. I passed by one truck stop that was in a very, very bad neighborhood. I know the signs. I used to live in the big city. I drove an hour and a half with that red triangle on to get to the first rest area I could get on 95. Called up night dispatch, told him what was up, and he kind of freaked out a little bit. He's like, dude, that's an hour and a half, man. I don't know, man. It's just, it's like, dude, I had to get out of there. There was nowhere to go. And nothing was ever said about it. You put in the comments trying to find a safe haven. If you're in Brooklyn or the Bronx, that's going to take a little bit longer than, say, if you're in, Wyoming. That red triangle is not the end of the world, guys. Now, did it screw up the 10-hour break? Yeah. That's where the problem lies. So if you're on a tight schedule, you're already messed up there. Brokers need to educate the shippers, receivers. They are out there, but the carrier needs to be upfront with the broker on hours. I agree, RT, and because people fudge in the paper, that wasn't happening. If back in the paper days, if you told a broker that you didn't have the hours to get there, they would just laugh at you, because they know that you could probably make it work. But if the broker gave the load to a mega carrier, trying to get a guy home, or a small carrier on e-logs, like what I was in, then they started to worry a little bit. So they use these tactics to scare you and all that, and, I'll get there when I get there. Dave says, I was in New Mexico Scale House. A guy was 20 minutes over 4 days ago, had notes, and they didn't shut him down. Just a verbal warning. I was surprised. Right. They know it's a pain in the park. They know it's a pain in the park here. They know that. It depends on the officer. They don't technically have to let you off. It's at their discretion, and that's the problem. Right. So, but like I said, guys, it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's all there is to it. There's no need to get upset about it. There's no need to get angry about it. It's here. It's reality. And, do I wish things were different? Yeah. But Jeffrey is proof that you can make money on e-logs with your own authority. He doesn't have the luxury of relays. He doesn't have the luxury of, OCs like he did at Schneider, but he's making it work. You have to adjust your business to the current hours of service regulations. If you're running illegal all the time because you were that guy that the broker used when something needed to be done, and that's how you base your business, you're going to suffer a little bit. You got to readjust. That's all there is to it. I'm just sick of the over-regulating this country. It seems that we're one of the largest targets of new burdensome regulations. Big Rich, I invite you to watch Kevin and Ollie's video about the ELD mandate. He said it best. And, there's a lot of businesses that have regulations. Yes, we are regulated quite a bit, but that's just how America is now. You want to, short of opening up a lemonade stand in the driveway, you got to have permits and building codes and fire codes and zoning laws and licenses, liquor licenses. If you're going to sell alcohol, you got to have health inspections if you sell food. There's every industry is regulated. I mean, look at the places that require you to wear the vest and the hard hat and the safety glasses and the earplugs and the beard nets and the booties on the feet. We all have rules and regulations. They all do, and it's just a part of life. If you're a business owner, that's just what you deal with. And unfortunately, we're in a very sue-happy country, and that's what happens. Thomas Wilson says, Snorlord, not bragging, but I grossed $86,000 this year as a company driver this year on e-logs. There you go. Thomas has got it figured out. Dave says every industry is regulated. Look at the restaurant industry, a big pain. You got to have a permit for lemonade states in some states now, right? So, it's a part of life. The reason why we have all these regulations, if you go to these third world countries, go on YouTube and look up third world country truck driving. You'll see some sketchy stuff. And that's what they're trying to prevent from us getting to. They're trying to prevent, the guy that's going to try to put a, 10,000 pound vehicle on a 5,000 pound trailer. They're trying to prevent, wheels falling off the trucks. They're trying to prevent brake failure. They're trying to prevent all that stuff. So it's not a free for all. If you want to play the game, you got to play the rules. Yeah, the shippers are going to be a pain in the butt. I've seen the signs. Oh, we don't care if you're out of hours, you got to leave. I've already dealt with that. I'm used to that. I'm used to it. And did I lose money because of that? Yeah. As a company guy, definitely. But anyways, that's enough for on that subject. Kevin and Ollie on the road has a really good video about the ELD mandate. He says it perfectly. So, but I am done for the year. I'll take my truck to the shop tomorrow. And I'm not running the APU. I'll run the APU about 2 hours beforehand. It's supposed to get down to, I think, 10 degrees tonight. So not as cold as last night. The last night I ran the APU. I put some anti-gel in the tanks because I knew the truck was going to be sitting. And maybe they'll take forever at Kenworth and the truck will stay inside the shop the whole time it's really cold. So I'll pick it up Tuesday morning and I'll get to work. So, also this time of year, as of 2 days ago, I think I mentioned it before, is my 2-year anniversary of being at the Big Orange. Now, if you've watched EMIP TV's latest video and you watch Snyder on the Facebook pages, you'll know that a lot of people have left to go to Traveloco, to go to Farm the Fleet, go to Landstar. here I am being distracted with the comments. Dang it. But I came over here at a time when rates were at their absolute lowest. Okay. Landstar, the spot market, rates are at their lowest. And it was close to fail time. And I came over here and I found consistency and I found ease. I found simplicity. Everything was cut and dry. There was no bartering with the agents. There was no race to the bottom with some of the agents. If I showed up and a load was canceled, truck order not used, was paid right away versus maybe you might get it in 3 months and you only get 65% of it. A lot of things were simpler here. Contract freight does have its place, okay? I got consistency and things were going so well that I got a second truck. Knock on wood. Now that the spot market is booming, the place that Schneider had, as far as the consistency, is now, it's still there. However, it's not the big money that it could be making. I will admit that. But so far, so good. Still happy here. Still doing pretty good here. And you never know what's in the works, right? It's definitely been a good stepping stone. And, and these 2 years have flown by. I made a few mistakes last year at this time at the holiday season. And I did a lot better this year. As far as the end of the year numbers, I don't know if I'll put them up or not. Because, we got a lot of the people like, oh, you're only making this much per mile. Whatever. So, but truck goes in the shop tomorrow. Who knows how much that'll cost? Because, it's going to a Kenworth dealership, so you know how they are. And, but you know what? I'm not worried. Thomas Wilson, Snorler, do you really need to take that final leap in trucking next year? I am. Well, if you guys have been watching Jeffrey Like, you kind of know what's coming up next. Own authority. Not quite there yet, Thomas. Not quite there. But what's interesting to me is that a lot of people that get their own authority, every single one that I've talked to, every single one, Jeffrey included, have all said, I wish I would have done it sooner. So, yep, RT, you got that right there, sir. So I need to get my butt in gear to make a few things go, happen my way. I priced out my own to be around 7 to 9K. Weird Grayson. Oh, okay. That's cool. As long as you're happy and comfortable there, your number, then the heck with them. Right. Well, a lot of truck drivers, it's a measuring contest, It's like my truck's better than yours, my revenue's better than yours, my running lane's better than yours, my trailer's better than yours. If you're a dry van, you're not a real truck driver. If you're a car hauler, you're not a real truck driver. That kind of thing. It's always a contest. And it's funny, a lot of my Schneider videos, I've got a video called Schneider, I See the Key to Success. And I get a lot of negative comments on that channel simply because people think that I'm sitting there cheerleading a $1 freight, and I wasn't. And also because it's a mega carrier. People can't believe that in mega carriers you can actually make some money. So, Right, Anthony. As long as you're happy making money, everything else is secondary in my opinion. Right. So that's about where I'm at. So, you know, the next step that I make has been allowed by having the consistency I needed. Hotshot Dave, I learned early I can gross less and net more. And that's kind of what I've done here. You know, don't get me wrong, I made good money at Landstar, but I had a lot of issues. I had the learning curve, and then I had the freight rates drop out on me, then I had the issues with the agents, and then I had, I think I already said, truck issues, and then 2015, that winter, is when things really, really got hard, man. February, there was nothing to be found. And also my knowledge. You know, I didn't know what I was doing back then. If I had to go back to Landstar tomorrow, I could make it work a lot better. Simply because of the knowledge I've gained by the YouTube videos, by Facebook, and by Jeffrey Like. And people like Jeffrey Like. So, Anthony T, believe me, I start orientation on the 2nd, and I'm nervous as hell because I'm not used to doing it as I'm not used to do it as company. Are you going to company or are you going to owner operator, Anthony? So I hate orientations of any company. I've been pretty blessed, man. I have not been a job hopper whatsoever. I've worked for 3 companies since I've been a driver. Oh, okay. Commodore Snyder. Okay, yeah. Gotta do my 6 months before I can hop over to IC. Yep, I hear you. I hear you, Anthony. Well, good luck to you. If there's anything you need to know, then maybe I can help you out a little bit. Just email me. You can find me on Facebook as Snorlord. And my email is stevenallington@gmail.com. I have ran multiple companies and have adapted with that my own authority. Check out my channel. Yeah, Dave, you got a little niche going on there with being a hot shot. A lot of people are curious about that. So we're gonna cut this video short, guys. So I'm tired, I need a shower, and I need to hang out with my family. So, but I decided to put that out there. I'm done for the year. I'll do a year-end review kind of thing. And, you know, New Year's is definitely a time that I reflect on a lot of things because my birthday is the next day after New Year's. So it's like, it's definitely a start end point for me. And I take a lot of things in perspective at the year end and all that. And I get to deal with the tax stuff too, which I've been a lot better about. Got my permits in the mail and all that stuff. So I'm getting better at keeping track of the tax paperwork and all that stuff. I'll be on the bus on the 1st, so I can't celebrate like the way I want to, says Anthony. Where are you going to orientation at, Anthony? Thomas, Snorlord, how about a whiteboard session on your year? I might do that. I might bust out the Truckin' Pro. I got to update. I'm behind. I think I've got most of November and all of December to add. And then I got to make sure I've added all the expenses. And then I got to just kind of wait at the last minute to see what this truck's going to cost me. So going to Dallas, huh? Well, Anthony, I might see you next week. Because I'm going to a place where I usually end up in Dallas is to pick up my next load. So you might see me down there. Seems like I'm in Dallas a lot. Hotshot Dave, would you help me with some advice for taxes as an owner operator? No. And here's why, Dave. I'm the last person you want to talk to about taxes. There are other YouTubers out there that have put up some tax advice, and you gotta take it with a grain of salt. I am not because everybody's tax situation is different. So it's a struggle every year. All I know is I have to keep better, I keep better track of everything, just keep track of everything. Yeah, Jeffrey likes the guy to talk to, Dave. My situation's different, You have some guys that have other incomes and have kids. They have other deductions, itemizations. And then you got guys that are the sole breadwinners that don't have kids. That it's a different situation. So, but all I can do is tell you how I kept track of everything, and how I kept track of my per diem and all that stuff. So, but I am the last person to give advice. You need deductions? I give you ideas for deductions. Fuel, of course. Anything that you've ever bought for your truck. Glass cleaner, rags, wrenches, tools, anything. Basic supplies like water. Did you know bottled water is a tax deduction? If you have satellite radio, that's a tax deduction. What makes satellite radio tax deduction is that there's a trucking channel on there. There's a weather channel on there. Use it for that. Cell phone, Wi-Fi, hotspot, parking, computer, phone, tablet, anything that you use for your business. Just, clothing if you need certain type of boots, Yeah. Kevin's got the right idea. There's deduction lists. Let me read that off. There's deduction lists you can find by Googling truck driving deduction. Click images and you'll find lists. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll go over how I organized everything and what I've done on my computer, because I did a lot of digital. Dude, okay, the first year I was an owner operator, I was that guy with the box of receipts and just said, here. I was that guy, okay? Second year, instead of a box, they were in folders. But it was still like, here you go, okay? The third year, I made photocopies of everything. And still a lot of work. But this year, I'll tell you a little trick I do. I like that, Kevin. Ike is live now. Anthony T, I have envelope stuff with receipts for each month. What I do, okay, is there's an app called Tiny Scanner that you can get for your phone, okay? If you use the TransFlow app, it's just like that. It turns it to a PDF file, you scan it, you take a picture of it, turns it into a black and white thing, and then what I'll do is I'll label it the date, the amount, and what it was. And then I'll email it to myself. I have a separate email account that is only for these files. And then at the end of the month, when I get home, I get on my laptop and I download each of those PDFs. I put them in a folder. And then I have basically each month folder has all the receipts. So I have my tolls, and I have the tolls, and then I'll download my logs off of Omnitrax. for the per diem. But for keeping track of your per diem, basically I write in this year-long planner whether I drove or was off that day. Now, you only get a half a per diem if you went home that day or if you left home. So you got to keep track of full days that you're out, half days that you're out, and the days that you weren't out. And so that's all in there. But that Tiny Scanner app is huge because now everything's organized. So when it comes time for me to send this to my accountant, guess what? I'll just hit send each of the folders for the month. And boom, that's it. There's no shuffling of papers in a box. And my accountant's already got access to my fuel, so I didn't have to keep any fuel receipts. And they've got access to my payments and everything else. So there you go. And then, I'll go through the tax organizer. My wife's really good about keeping track of all the house stuff. And, and we just file together and it's a done deal. So, but this year should be the easiest year yet, knock on wood. And because everything's already digitalized, but that Tiny Scanner app is huge because you don't need a computer and that kind of thing. RT Trucking says Trucking Pro software, keep it filled out. That is true. It depends on how much detail you want to put in the Trucking Pro. Also, things that made it easier this year is I started a business bank account. So anything that I ever bought for the truck, whether it be repair, rags, wiper fluid, anything that wasn't fuel, went on this debit card. So I can go to my bank and get everything I've ever spent on that debit card right there. So that's another way to make it easier. Try to have all your expenses paid off of one account. That way it's all itemized. And then my tolls, whatever Snyder hasn't kept track of, I've kept track of because I got a K tag. So that keeps track of everything else that's not, Easy Pass. And, I've got year-end statements for that. I hear you, Kevin. I won't even read that out loud. Hey, Big Eddie, what's up? I haven't seen you in a minute. Yeah, Kevin says, I imagine having the business account would make life easier with detailed statements you can access online. Right. Now, let's say you have a credit card. If you have a credit card that you use solely for the business, okay, and you got a balance on it, the interest of that credit card is tax deductible. That's what Jeffrey's told me, okay? However, where you run into the problem is that if you paid for your brake job on that credit card and then you went out and spent $100 on Amazon for, CDs, it's hard to separate that for the tax deduction. So if you buy anything with a credit card, you need to have a sole business credit card and a sole, if you're going to buy frivolous stuff, have a separate credit card for that. And that's something I didn't do. So, but that interest is tax deductible. So, but Jeffrey Like is the master of telling what deductions are. But yeah, there's a lot of lists on Google, a lot of things that you wouldn't think of. And as long as you've been keeping the receipts, you're good. So, the only thing that makes me nervous is that, in the past, when I had all the paper receipts, I would mail them. It's like, I hope the FedEx guy doesn't crash or something because I didn't have any copies. So last year, I finally made copies of everything before I send it out. But this time, I have digital. Everything's going to be digital. So, family stuff, man. Okay, I hear you, Big Eddie. When you run into a wall to itemize when you use personal and business, you run into a wall when you itemize when you use personal and business accounts mixed, right? Like I don't ever buy a drink or food or whatever with my business debit card. Kevin says, I owned the shop for 7 years, had to keep everything separate. Yeah, that's the key because like when I go to Walmart, And if I'm buying stuff specifically for the truck, I go to those self-service cashier things, and I'll run all my food and everything up first, and then I'll use my business account to do the, you know, like the oil and the treatment or the antifreeze, you know, that kind of stuff that I'll buy at Walmart. It's separate. So, you know. Anthony T. Now, if you get a Lizard write up a receipt, would it count as entertainment deduction? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see someone audited with that question. I don't know much about it. You know, to be serious, I don't know much about entertainment deductions. You know, because I buy a lot of music CDs, and I thought, well, maybe I can write them off. But someone suggested I didn't do that, so I don't. You know, because it's entertainment, right? But I think the satellite radio's write-offable because it's got trucking-related content on it. So you can use Netflix or Hulu. Well, that's interesting. Now, I know that if you have satellite TV and you got a satellite TV in your truck, then that's counted. But I'll try that Netflix this year because Netflix is definitely something I use. So, all right, RT Trucking. Guys, I'm going to leave here. Thanks for watching. I know it's been more. You're allowed $500 a year for entertainment. Oh, okay. Huh. See, that's why I'm not a tax expert at all. So, Big Yeti's got it. Talk to other drivers. YouTube Red deductible? I don't know, Sun Chaser. I guess if it falls under entertainment, as long as you don't go over that $500. So, but, you know, I know it's been more of a serious video. I got my glasses on. So, but, it's business related, right? But you mainly watch trucking stuff on YouTube. Yeah, I watch everything on YouTube. So, a little bit too much, actually. So, but, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and we'll leave this one up. I thought it was a good video. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my behind. So, see you guys.